The Seventh Tower by Garth Nix. Book 6, The Violet Keystone. Chapter 30. Tal crawled to the edge of the spire and looked down. Far below, on the red desert sands, he could see a speck of black still wrapped around something that glittered and glowed. Milla bent over him and gripped his wrist and elbow. Tal gritted his teeth, but could not help crying out as she put his arm back into the shoulder socket. "He was brave," said Milla quietly. "Brave as any ice cow, as any sword thane of legend." "First of the free folk," whispered Tal. "He saved us all, in the end, with cave roach poison." He started to laugh, but it turned into a sob that racked his whole body until he managed to get himself under control. Then he felt tired, more tired than he had ever been. He just wanted to lie down and sleep for years. They had defeated Sherakor. Let someone else take over now. But he was not left to lie there. Milla helped him up and practically dragged him across to where Mullen lay. She was so still that fear struck Tal again. "Is she—" "She lives," replied Milla. "Her throat is bruised and she is burned, but I have put a healing light upon that. She will wake soon." Tal looked at her. "An underfolk defeats a monster, and Icecarl wields light magic," he said. "And a chosen doesn't know what to do, except look for Adris and Audris. But how do we get out of this old whirlwind?" "We all have to return to the castle," said Milla. "The veil must be restored, and peace made between all our peoples. That is what we must do." "Yes," replied Tal, "and we must free the underfolk." He looked down at the half-keystone Crow had thrown to him, and slid it upon the finger where he wore the half-keystone Milla had given him. As the two sunstones met, there was an intense flash of violet, a stinging pain in Tal's finger. The ring was whole once more. The sunstones become one. "You can help us all get back to the castle from here, can't you?" asked Milla. Tal did not hear her. He was staring down at the violet keystone, lost in its depths. Milla smacked him on the back and repeated her question. "What? No, that is, I don't know," began Tal. Then he stopped to think about it and was surprised to find inside himself an absolute confidence that he could lead them back from anywhere in Einir. "Yes, I suppose we can go from here. You better wake up Mullen. I'm just going for a walk." Milla frowned. There was nowhere to walk to atop the spire, but she bent down and propped Mullen up against herself, wincing as her bruised ribs and back complained. Tal walked to where Sherakor had stood, right on the edge of the spire. The rock was worn glassy smooth there, as if by many feet. It would be treacherous if it was wet, but Tal guessed it never rained here, in the heart of the whirlwind. "Camsol!" he shouted. "I have a question." The sound of the whirlwind did not change, but somehow Tal heard a quiet voice above it. A voice that was old and slow and mellow, gentle and vaguely amused at the same time. "Of course you do, Tal Greo Rerum, Emperor of the Chosen of the Castle. I will grant you one question and one answer. Did you kill Adris and Audris?" "I do not kill my children," breathed the old Camsol. "Even my children's children's children, beyond the count of years. They live and now know their ancestry. You may ask another question." Could I have done anything differently?" asked Tal. "Was there some way to do everything better? To defeat Sherakor without Crow dying? Or Jarek? Or all the other people, all the Einirians?" "I cannot answer that," whispered the whirlwind. I can only say what is and what has been, not what might have been or what might come to pass. You may ask another question. Tal stared out at the whirlwind. Who started the war between our worlds? He asked. Which one? The old Camsel sighed. Which one? There have been so many wars, and even I cannot always say how they began. Tal was silent. I have not answered. Do you have another question? No, said Tal slowly. I do not know what to ask. I will come back someday, if you let me. You may come, said the old Camsel. I shall be here. Tal turned and walked back to Milla and Mullen. A minute later, 3 sunstones flashed, and 3 voices spoke the way to the dark world. A rainbow shone, and the spire of the old Camsel was empty.